129,000 warriors. Half the world under control. 0 supply depots along the way. While a European knight without a supply train would starve in 3 days, a Mongol could campaign for months. Everyone thinks they were endless in number. That's not true. Their secret wasn't in their numbers. It was in a principle that Europe adopted 500 years later. In the 13th century, Genghis Khan commanded 129,000 soldiers and faced a challenge no army before him had ever solved. Picture this: 50,000 men, each one eating 2 kilograms of food a day, plus the horses, 10 kilograms of fodder each. Every single day, your army consumes as much as a small city. European armies had a simple answer: pillage everything in their path. But the early Mongol campaigns cut through the steppes of Central Asia, thousands of kilometers with no cities, no villages, no supply depots. There was nothing to loot. And yet, the army had to move fast, very fast. The Mongols found a solution that no European army would replicate for another 500 years. The Mongols' first solution was the simplest and the most brilliant. A Mongol warrior didn't depend on an army supply train. He was his own supply train. From childhood, a Mongol lived in the saddle. Movement, the steppe, constant migration, surviving on the road. That wasn't hardship for him, that was just life. When he rode out on campaign, he carried almost nothing. He brought several spare horses, so he never had to slow down. When one tired, he simply switched to another. His food was simple and wouldn't spoil. Dried meat, light, packed with nutrients, good for months. Dried curd pressed into small cakes, carried in leather pouches. Kumis, fermented mare's milk, churned right inside leather flasks during night watch rotations. The army literally produced its own food while on the move, and in extreme situations, a Mongol soldier would make a small cut on his horse's neck and drink the blood. Just a little. Enough not to weaken the animal, enough to keep going for a few more hours in the saddle. This wasn't cruelty, it was engineering. The warrior and his horse were a single combat organism, one that fed itself. But one self-sufficient warrior is not an army. If 129,000 men march together as a single mass, they strip their own resources bare within days. The Mongols solved this differently. On the march, Mongol armies split into several widely spread corps. Campsites and pathways were chosen with one thing in mind: access to grazing land. Fodder and food supplies for both men and horses were pre-positioned along the route before the army even moved. This wasn't improvised. This was logistics planning at a level most armies couldn't imagine. The Mongols planned not only their army and their route, they planned the season. Winter was their ally. Frozen rivers were their roads. Hard ground was their advantage. In the Western campaign of 1237 to 1240, it was winter that helped them move through Russian lands faster than anyone expected. The system was so precise that the only thing capable of stopping it was nature. When the frost in Hungary in 1241 to 1242 gave way to a thaw, the ground turned marshy and the army slowed. Not the enemy, not the opponent's strategy, the weather. This is not a weakness of the system. This is its scale. It operated at the very edge of what is possible without radio, without trucks, without GPS. The territory is one thing. Holding it is an entirely different challenge. In the 13th century, the Mongols created an empire that stretched from the Pacific Ocean to the Persian Gulf. Governing such vast lands from a single point became physically impossible. If a messenger rode from one end of the empire to the other on a single horse, it would take months. The horse would collapse from exhaustion. The messenger would follow. The Mongols solved this by creating the yam system. In the year 1234, Khan Ogedei Khan officially established it as a state structure. A network of relay stations placed every 30 to 40 kilometers across the empire. At each station, there were 20 keepers, fresh horses, and supplies of food and fodder. A messenger would ride to a station, change to a fresh horse, and continue at full speed. There was no need for a supply train. Everything was prepared in advance. The result was extraordinary. A message from the far edge of Asia could reach the Khan in just 3 days. While a European king waited weeks for news, the Mongol ruler was already issuing orders to armies thousands of kilometers away. The system worked for one reason: discipline was absolute. The Mongols didn't win through endless hordes. Their main weapon was mathematical precision, an autonomous warrior with several horses and weeks of food, a dispersed march across different pastures, a postal system that connected the empire from the Pacific Ocean to the Danube. Each of these principles is used in modern armies: decentralized supply, fighter autonomy, the use of specialists from different cultures. The Mongols applied all of this 800 years ago. Without radio, without trucks, without GPS. They were not barbarians who got lucky. They were engineers of war.